It's Luke from Hardkorr Campers, and this is the brand new Xplorer 2.2E, and today we're going to be doing a full walkthrough on how to use the Xplorer. So we're going to cover everything from power, water, tent, awning, absolutely everything. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use it, maybe even better than I do. Sometimes when you look at these, they can be a little bit daunting. There's cables and some big pieces going on in here. But the most important thing is that you should not actually have to touch anything in here. It's all preset, it's all automated. You more or less just open the door on the other side, turn the power button on, and off you go. But just so you know what you're working with, we'll cover it all. So the big unit right here, this is your 3000 watt inverter. Basically, in a nutshell, it takes the power from your batteries, which are behind this control panel, and it converts it into a power that you can use your kettles, microwaves, your air fryers, everything like that. That's what this is responsible for. On the other side of the camper, you can see there's a power point here, but there isn't one here. We use this socket to transfer power to the other side of the camper, so you're not running power leads and everything like that, so you can power all your accessories. So yeah, this takes 12 volt power and converts it to 240 volt power. On the wall, just mounted over here, is your DC-DC charger. Now we fit a 40 amp. What that's responsible for is it takes the power from the sun, but also from your vehicle, and it charges your batteries while you're driving or while we're camping like we are right now, all right? So we're under some shade right now, but if I throw a panel out, this unit here is what charges your batteries. On the very back wall, we have a 25 amp AC to DC charger. So going back to that 240 volt as we spoke about before, what it does is when we're at a caravan site, or if we've got a generator or something like that, we'll plug a 15 amp lead into the back here. And then what that does is it goes through to an RCD, which is like your safety switch as if you're at home, to a double power point, and then to that charger. So no matter what, if you're charging to the back, you're supplying 240 volt power to the trailer, but you're also charging it at the same time. So that's what that's responsible for. Again, it's all preset, it's all done for you. You don't have to touch anything in here. Next to your 40 amp DC-DC, you have a series of resettable switches or breakers, like what we like to call them. So they do have various jobs. So for example, one is a breaker from the Anderson point at the front of the car, going to the DC-DC. You've got another breaker from the solar panels to the DC-DC, and then a breaker from the DC-DC to the batteries. So if you ever find that you're not charging or you think something's not working, have a quick look, make sure that that breaker hasn't tripped, and then you can go from there. So you've got your chargers, you've got your safety switches in here as well, and your breakers. So, but like I said, you don't have to touch anything in here. Under your power point, we're now talking about water, you have some butterfly valves. So the easiest way to remember when you're looking at them, there's one, if you can imagine my hands are the valves. The one that's closest to you, that's your front tank. The one at the back, that's your back tank. If the valves are vertical, it means that they're open, or if they're horizontal, it means that the valves are closed. So the only time you'd ever really want to play around with it is if you've punctured a tank or something like that. If you've punctured the front tank, turn the front tank off, and it keeps your water pump nice and happy. Okay, so now for your storage, and look, you've got plenty of it, and it's also customizable. So this shelf at the top here and this shelf here, you can actually adjust. The one to the left here, you can adjust to every 8 centimeters. So we've got these nut certs. This is on the tallest setting at the moment. You can go to your medium, or you can go to your lowest as well, all right? Or if you want, just remove it entirely. We find a lot of people will put their porta potties in here, but they do need that extra height from it, so you can remove that shelf. This one here, it's pretty much set at the best spot we think, but you can remove it. You just have to make sure you've got long arms, because we've got bolts going about every 20 centimeters going to the very back wall. So if you want to undo it, Phillips head screwdriver, undo it, and that'll slide out. Behind me, this is just big open plan storage. So if you like your big tubs, or if you want to take the molly panel for advantage and tie things in, you can use this space as well. Now, we'll talk about the hot water unit in a second, because we do have to cover the safety breakaway system. So this is a safety requirement because the trailer can hold over 2 ton. Effectively, there's a nice steel cable at the front. If the trailer ever came off the car, it would pull a pin out and lock the brakes on, which is what this box here is responsible for. Now, for the most exciting thing for our 26 lineup is the hot water unit. So it's finally built in, and it's 12 volt as well. So the good thing, all you have to do now is turn the unit on. There's a red button right there. Press your water pump button, and that's it. You've got hot water. You don't have to set the tripod up anymore. There's no plumbing, there's no nothing. It's just on, and off you go. So nice and easy. Okay, so now we're at the back of the trailer and we've got some things to talk about. So we're gonna talk about some power, some accessories, and some recovery bits and pieces. So starting off with the power, at the back here, we're now putting power into the trailer. We're not taking power from it. The one on the right-hand side, it actually says inlet, and it's a 15 amp plug. So what you do is if you're at a caravan park, if you've got a generator with you and it's a bit overcast, you would effectively plug the camper into the generator, and that will charge your camper through the RCD and everything we spoke about just before. So we're not taking power from it, we're supplying power. The one on the left-hand side is a small circular fitting, and it's called a WSP12 connector. We would typically use Anderson points for anything solar in the camping industry, but for this instance, we use this circular fitting because it's dustproof and it's waterproof. So there's nothing worse than dust inside your camper as you're camping. What you'll do from here is you'll unscrew this black cover, the spiral cable that we supply with the camper, you'll connect up to the Anderson, to the circular fitting, and then you'll set up your tent. So yeah, we're supplying power, we're not taking power. At the back here, we also have our water inlet. Now you do have one at the front of the trailer as well. So the water filler at the front, that's for your front tank, and the one for the back, that's your back tank. Now at the bottom section of the camper, we have some recovery points. So you see the two big D-shackles either side of the body, and then you've got this middle one here, which we're just using for the rear step at the moment. But it's just worth noting that the middle one is a rated recovery point. The ones on the sides, they are not. So the only time I'd ever use them is if the camper was on its side, you'll winch down from it and bring it back on its feet. But anything for like you're getting bogged in the beach or anything like that, just use the center one because it is a rated recovery point. But outside of that, we've just got the rear step in there, and I'll use this later to help me set up the tent. But you can use it for your push bike racks and everything like that, go for it. It's just like the back of your car. On the left-hand side here, we have a double cigarette point. Now, we will use this for the lights in the awning, and that's pretty much its only function. But just think of it as when all your doors are closed, if you want to take power, that's the only place you can draw power from the camper. So we're putting power in, but we can also take power out of the camper once all the doors are closed up. All right, now on this side of the camper is where you're going to spend 99% of your time. So the other side really is just storage with the exception of that power section over there. But this is where you will spend all of your time under the awning and everything like that. Just so we know what we're doing is basically, this is your control panel here. So you will use this to turn on your lights, your water pump, power your devices so you can charge them through the cigarette or the USB, or you can see where your water tanks are at, but we'll get to that in a minute. On the right hand side here is we have our fridge slide. Now this is a double action. So basically what you do is there's these two blue buttons on either side here, push them down and pull it out, and then you can just pull it out until it stops when it wants to, like that. We do have another prep bench slide underneath. So with this blue lever, open that up and that'll just come straight out. Now, what I want to sort of express here is that we've got quite a distance from the fridge slide back here all the way to the front. So with one finger, if I move it, you can see that moves quite a bit. We do have a lot of leverage. So under this bench here, we have some adjustable feet, which you can use to support this table, and it keeps your slide nice and happy. But if you just want to use this as a table and you don't want your fridge out, you just put it back in like that. That'll come out, and that's now nice and sturdy. So in this setting here, I probably wouldn't bother having the feet out underneath it. By all means, go for it. But when it's fully out, 100% make sure you've got that feet underneath it so you keep these slides nice and happy. When we talk about packing away the slide, we've got these two bolts here either side. Now, the reason why we've done that is because once your fridge is fully loaded and everything like that, it's going to be close to about 50 kilos, which is a lot of weight. And if you're doing thousands of k's of corrugated roads, the last thing you want is for it to come undone, move, and then slowly work its way forward. What can happen here is that if you can imagine my finger is this door lock, once you close it, if this fridge slide comes forward, there's no gap for that lock to get out of now. So if you're trying to open your door, you're pretty much fighting a 50 kilo fridge slide. Like you can't do it. So when you pack away your fridge slide, use the two bolts, put your slide down, and that's it. Happy days. If you can do that, you'll have no dramas getting your doors open ever. But trust me, you'll only ever do it once. It's a nightmare, so make sure you do that. Now for the control panel. So you're going to reference and use this quite a bit when you're camping, and what I mean by reference is this shunt right here. Now we do have a full walkthrough of the shunt because there is quite a lot of stuff to know about it, but that's on a separate video which we'll link below. But just for this one here, we'll talk about this front screen. So right now this is telling me that I've got 300 amps, or I'm full. And it'll also tell you that, so it says I've got 100%. It tells you the power that you're using, the voltage and the wattage. So if you turn on some lights here, it's now saying I'm drawing 1.9. I've got full batteries. It says it's gonna be dead flat in 157 hours. The more stuff that I turn on, so I'll turn on the rear lights and this fan, I'm now using 3.4. I'll be dead flat in 90 hours. So it tells you in live time, essentially how long it's gonna be until you're dead flat. So you'll use this quite a lot, especially at night time as the sun just goes down, because the induction, depending on how much you cook or everything like that, you can use quite a lot of power. So you'll use this quite a bit. Now the water meters, they're pretty self-explanatory. The one at the front water meter, the one at the back, that's for your back. These little squishy buttons here, these are actually reset switches. So if you ever find that your lights aren't working or anything like that, just hit your reset switch. If it turns on, happy days. But if you ever find that you've had to press these buttons, give us a call, because it actually indicates that something has happened that we may need to investigate. If we're looking at the back tail lights, basically the whole camper has lights everywhere except the back. So we thought, let's put some at the back. So if you press the one that says rear lights, turns on the rear lights. It basically just gives you a bit of ambient lighting at the back, so if you need to chop down some trees for some firewood or something like that, you can see what you're doing. USB and USB, that's pretty straightforward. And then you've got your cigarette socket here as well, so you can power all your 12-volt accessories. This big red button here, now you'll use this as your on and off switch. So if you're done camping and it's packed up at home or anything like that, turn it off, and that's all you've got to do. Or when you open that door for the first time and you just rocked up to the beach, turn it on and you're good to go. So that's all it is, just an on-off button. The cool thing that we've done, and this is from experience, is that we've actually put the fridge on its own separate circuit. So with this whole system here turned off, my fridge actually still works. The reason why we did that is because you could do 1,000 Ks of corrugated roads, you could be doing the Gibb River or something like that. If something on this camper were to trip, short, anything like that, you don't lose all your cold food and your drinks. So in saying that, if your fridge ever doesn't work, it's either your fridge itself is faulty or your batteries are flat, and it's as easy as that, all right? So you don't have to spend your whole day trying to find a little gremlin somewhere. It's just fridge, cable, battery, and done. Nice and easy. Now, on the corner here, we do have a button, and that is for your 3,000 watt inverter. So like I said on the other side, you should not have to go in there at all. And that also includes having to turn your inverter on, because we do it from this side. So there's a square, sort of like a black square faceplate in here with a blue button. You press that, it's a short 3-second press, it'll turn it on. Or if you've got a key near, you'll hear an actual beep in the distance. That's your inverter turning on. A visual indicator of that is that all these green LED lights underneath will also, they'll shine, and that tells you that your inverter's on, and you can start using power from your power point just above it. Underneath in this shelf here, which is also adjustable just like the other side, you've got an Anderson point here. Now, obviously we've got all the hardcore cooking range stuff here, so we've got the kettle and the pod machine. You can power all these devices, or even some other devices, from that Anderson just right here. Other than that, we'll move on to the other side. Now the kitchen side, or probably the best part about the whole camper other than the front steps. So we've made some few changes. We've just pushed this back a little bit, but it's the exact same kitchen as you would know from the other previous models. So it really is just storage. You've got your drawer slide just underneath it, exact same thing as all the other campers that we've done, just super long and super deep. And then also your kitchen slide. Now, again, just like the fridge slide, we've got this bolt here. So undo the bolt, you've got this bit of angle here which you can push down, and you should be able to do this with one hand actually, and then pull it out. Now, we do have a bungee at the back of the kitchen. all that is doing is it's putting pressure on the locks. Otherwise, if we didn't have that there, it'd work the exact same way. It's just any bit of wind, it might move the slide and it will just sound like that every time you try and cook. So if that ever breaks, you can use your camper the exact same way. Nothing's gonna change about this. Setting up the fold out side of things now, we've got these wings here. Typically as far wide as it can go is perfect. So we will just push this out and just support your legs as well once you've undone them. Now that's just missed, but at the bottom here, you've got a spring-loaded button. Just line them up with that, push that in, that's all good. Once you've got the sink in there, which is in that drawer over there, push that down and you're good to go. You do have a cutlery drawer down here, so I'll just jump over to the other side and show you that. Down the bottom here, just pop your finger through there and pull it out. It'll stop when it wants to stop. You can't pull these out too far. And then to put it back in, same thing in reverse. I'll just show you though, you'll think that this is closed, but it's actually not. If you just hold at the bottom here, there's an edge that's not sharp, you just put your palm in there, like that, that's now closed. The important thing with this is that if I were to try and pack up this slide with it like that, you may actually catch this edge here that supports the slides for the drawer and the actual kitchen slide as well. So before you close it up, make sure you hear that bit of that thump, and that's good to go. We've got some buttons down here. So we've got one that says the light switch, which we won't see in the daytime because all it does is there's a little HKC logo on the other side, it illuminates that. You can actually use that if you're at a caravan park. You might see on the caravans they've got those purple handles. Use this as an identifier, so if you're walking back you can find your camper, look for the orange HKC. There's some more sockets here, so you've got USB and cigarette again, so you can charge anything from there or use them for your cooking. But you've also got this big on and off switch. So with the inverter turned on and you want to use the induction, you will turn that on, set your settings, and off you go. You're cooking straight away. So just on and off button there for the induction, and then you've got your power switch over here as well. We're in the day at the moment, but if we're at night time, you've got a button here that says the light switch, and all that physically does is it sends power to these controllers. Now you've got a light in every door, and you've also got some bolted into the side panels on the other side of the camper. So if you need to get stuff out in the middle of the night, you can just hit that light switch and you can get your bits and pieces. But on this side here, it's just worth noting, every single light that we use on the camper except for the rear is what we call that tricolor. So we've got the cool white at the moment. At the very bottom, you'll press the mode button to change your color. That'll go to your warm white, and then you've got your orange as well. Now, on full brightness, you'll use obviously more power, but if it's too bright for you, you can also dim them down. But if you're getting low on power, it's actually pretty good because you can be conscious about how much power you use and reduce the amount of light that you have as well. So we'll move on to the tent and the awning now. What we will have to do is we'll have to pack up this kitchen slide just to fully set up the awning and put the doors down as well. Now, when it comes to the tent or the awning, you can do either first, it doesn't really matter. But in all honesty, I do find it easier to do the tent first and then the awning, just because the latch on this side here, you'll have to poke your hand up through the gap between the awning and the tent and unlatch it. So it's a bit harder to do once that awning's fully set up. For your tent setup, there's only really two things you need to remember. Number one is that you have 6 latches, and number 2 is that you've got to undo them before you try and set it up, all right? So you've got 2 at the front here, 2 at the back, and then 1 either side. Now, the one on this side, you can fit your hand between this gap and I'll just undo the latch. I'll do the ones on the back and on that side, and then we'll get started on the front. Okay. Now, in terms of which side should you set up first, I like to do the front first, just purely because once I'm standing up there, you've got all the leverage in your body just to push it up. Once you get to the back though, because it's on a 45, it makes it easier for this part to come straight up versus trying to force that up first and then the front. So just do the front, but it doesn't really matter. You can do it either way. Just like that. Now, these are on gas struts. You do have to help with that first sort of 30 centimeters, but even then it would go up by itself if you didn't reach that point either, so that's fine. I'm just gonna do these just really quick. I'll put my bungee to the top, to the bottom, like that. Now these wire poles, if you've ever had like a swag or anything like that before, you'll be used to these. Just chuck this through this little bottom slit here on a 45-degree angle, hook facing down, and then that goes straight in. And then same thing for the other side. And that's pretty much your front setup. Going to the back now, like we sort of mentioned before, I've actually got a rear step in there. So nice and easy. If you have one of these, you're just gonna climb on it. Like that. That's your tent setup. Now for the awning, I'm gonna get the 2 ropes now. They'll be in a like a khaki colored bag, typically in the pantry drawer when you get your camper for the first time. And they're actually called like these ratchet ropes. So they're black and red. You effectively put the hook on, pull it tight, and that's all you need. And plus 1 pole. So I'll get the ropes and the pole, and then I'll show you how to do that. Now, when you're doing the bag, just make sure that once you sort of unzip it, on the corners here, just fold it backwards. Just keeps it out of the way for when these arms swing forward or backwards for the back there. Fold that out the back. And this is the part that you want to fold forward on the corner here, just like that. Undo your straps. Like so, and this just drops down, and then honestly, you just pull it forward. Like that. Now this front rope, so give yourself a bit of cord so you can adjust them. Just bring that forward, like that. Cool. I like to have the pulling side of it at the top here, and then come down through to the drawbar. Now you do have various slots or holes on the drawbar. I like to go to the one closest to the left bolt that your hitch attaches to. And then from there, I don't want to put too much tension on it, but just a little bit, because we'll come back and adjust this a bit later on. Now to the back. I've brought the awning to the back here. I'm just going to put the hook through the back D-loop now. Now this is a pretty important part. If you have a look at where I've put my rope, I put the other end of the hook near where the gas strut bolts onto the camper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tension this off to where I want it to be. And that is roughly 5 centimeters, a nice even 5 centimeter gap from the awning to the tent here, all right, along that whole edge. If I've got 5 centimeters or even just a little bit less, that's absolutely fine. I've got the back exactly where I want it to be. I'm just going to get some more tension on this, and then we're going to support it with a pole. Now look, the awnings that we give you on these campers, they are a freestanding pole, but because at the front here, rather than attaching it in a nice straight line back that way, we're going down with it. So we're going to support this arm, and we're going to put a pole with the rope right there. Other than that, that is your tent and your awning fully set up now, and we'll get straight into the front of the camper. There's not a whole lot to talk about at the front here other than your jockey wheel and all your bits and pieces to attach it to the car. But what we will talk about is what's behind this cover plate here that's labeled shower. Now at the back of the camper is where we've got the hot water unit, so we've just gone ahead and turned that on with the red button. I've just gone ahead and hit the water pump switch. So if I open it up now, we will have our shower head and we'll have our mixers. So at the very top we've got cold, and at the very bottom we've got hot. So turn that on. There is a lock on here as well, so if you hit that button, off you go. Just like that, easy. So what this basically eliminates now is the need for having to set up a tripod, your hot water unit, and all your other bits and pieces. It's all nice and easy. You just turn it on and off you go. So thanks for watching, guys. That has been the full walkthrough of the Xplorer 2.2E. Hopefully by the time you've watched this video, you're all good to go and you know exactly what you're doing. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you out there.